Hey, when buying a property, let's face it, as a buyer, we don't normally consider how much it's going to cost us to finalize the deal. Because as buyers, we traditionally don't pay any brokerage real estate fees. But that doesn't mean there aren't costs associated with closing your deal. I'm going to share with you the 5 most common forgotten about costs that you need to prep for when closing your purchase. All right, hey, I'm John DeFreitas, local realtor with Sutton Group Summer Realty in the Greater Toronto Area. And here are the 5 most forgotten costs that you need to consider when closing on your deal. First one is land transfer tax. Yes, most people do remember this because it's traditionally the largest lump sum. Now, how do you calculate for land transfer tax? There isn't a very specific formula, but I use a guideline of just over 1.5% as an average. So let's say you're purchasing a property at $1 million, you're going to be paying just over $16,000 in land transfer tax. The exception there is if you're buying a property in the Toronto City area. In that case, you double the land transfer tax by 2. Now, the second most forgotten about cost that you need to prep for when buying a house is home insurance. Yes, home insurance is a key vital cost that you need to make sure you have when purchasing and buying a house. Yes, is it vital that you have home insurance? It absolutely is. You can expect to pay on average between $1,000 to $1,500 annually for home insurance. So prep for that expense. Right. The third most forgotten about expense that you need to pay for are lawyer fees. Yes, you do need a lawyer to close on the deal. So lawyers are going to cost you in around $1,500 to close on you. The fourth most forgotten about costs you need to plan for are moving costs. Yes, unless you're going to do it all yourself, and even still, there's probably some costs associated with buying boxes, etc. So if you're doing it yourself, you can plan for $300 to $500 worth of materials and time and all that you're going to have to account for. But if you're hiring movers, you better budget between $3,500 to $4,500. That is a fairly safe bet for what it'll cost you to move, approximately 35 to 45, 50 kilometers or so. And finally, the 5th most forgotten about costs when closing on your buy are adjustments on closing. Now, what are adjustments on closing? See, these are costs that the seller would have probably prepaid in advance, and now you have to supplement the difference. So let's say that you purchased in July and the seller paid their entire property tax at the beginning of the year. Well, you have 6 months of property tax to rebate them on, and this will be adjustments on closing. This applies for other things as well, such as, let's say, a completely full propane tank in a more rural area that isn't being used completely by the seller. You'd also have to supplement the difference of the cost there, and these are all handled by your lawyer. There you go. There are 5 costs that you should be planning for when buying your home. Make sure you're well prepared and not surprised by what it's going to cost you to close and get